Hello, and welcome to a new series we're starting here called Sitecore Stories. In this series, we're going to be talking to the various people who work here at Sitecore about the different projects they're working on. Today, we're going to kick it off by talking with Ivan Lieckens, and he's going to be talking all through the publishing changes which are happening in XM Cloud. Okay, thanks for joining me today, Ivan. I think before we dive in and talk all things publishing, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Sitecore for those in the community who haven't met you yet?
I would hope that most of the community have met me, because I've been with the community since like 2012 and joined most of the SUGCONs and symposiums over the years. So, but for those who don't know who I am, Ivan Lieckens. I'm a senior product manager at Sitecore, and I take care of a variety of topics. I'm the product lead for X Delivery, which belongs to XM Cloud. So some of my responsibilities are like the Experience Edge and publishing workflows, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, nice. So I guess before we dive into the new publishing feature that's been released, can you talk a little bit about the problems we had and why we built this feature?
Sure. So in publishing, what you'll notice is that we had one particular use case which really made us rethink a little bit what features we want to offer in this area. So consider the case where you have a footer, and when you edit that footer, and the way that publishing was functioning up until this point, when you made any changes there and you would publish, it would actually require the system to publish all the pages with that footer. So if you have a website with like thousands of pages, instead of you're suddenly looking at a very long publish operation just because you want to make a small change to your footer, which is used on all your pages. So to resolve this, we brought to life this new feature, Edge Runtime Publishing, which decouples some of the information so that when you run a publish operation, we kind of just need to publish that particular piece and not all of your pages.
That sounds great. Yeah, I know I've been bitten by that issue in the past. So I believe you've got some slides where you could talk us through how the new feature works and how people can leverage it themselves in XM Cloud.
So this is the why, which I just mentioned with a simple calculation. So you change one link in your footer, 104 items versus one item. This is the whole reason. And the how we do this is basically we've cut down all of the different pieces of the data sources out of the layout so that it goes up in separate smaller pieces with references to those pieces. So this does mean that assembly now happens on the edge. So instead of just having a stored entity, that means that it does change behavior a little bit. And the biggest behavioral change that you'll see is actually the one that I have here in the middle, which is the integrated GraphQL, because where prior, and I call like the standard publishing, I call that snapshot publishing, because what it does is it literally takes the output of the layout service. It takes a snapshot of that, it uploads it to the edge, and that's what's being served. However, if you look at Edge Runtime Publishing, since it has all these separate pieces, the edge needs to assemble them, but it also needs to run the actual GraphQL. So whereas prior you would have to publish a page which had a component with GraphQL fetching the latest 5 news items, you would have to publish both the news item and the page in snapshot publishing, but in Edge runtime publishing, you actually only need to publish the news page, because automatically at revalidation of the page that holds that component, which displays the 5 items, it will run it in at the edge and fetch the new information. So it will actually update by itself. So that does mean that when you use a lot of integrated GraphQL, that slows down page rendering. So you have to be kind of mindful about the fact that the response from Edge runtime publishing suffers from initial caching. So the first response is slower, and then it will be just as fast because the result gets cached and that goes up there. So that's no issue at all. And
is there a timeout on that integrated GraphQL cache then?
It depends, because as you know, the Edge runs in like 250 plus locations. Each location has its own cache. So that does mean that there might be some variance between locations and which one is the most up to date. The timing duration of the cache of the response is a few minutes. It is not hours. So you will eventually see all locations update accordingly.
Makes sense. And is this available for everyone on XM Cloud to use today then? Like, how do people go and enable it if they want to make use of it?
So it is extremely easy to make it happen. There is a changelog entry, which you can find already, which we made the announcement for the early access. So this right now it is still in what we call experimental access. So, but anyone can turn it on, and surprisingly, there is a very high number of clients that have already opted in to leveraging Edge runtime publishing. Last time we checked, we were already around the 50% mark of people who activated the feature. So all you need to do is there is a specific environment variable that you need to activate on your deployment. So it's really straightforward. And if you want, I could potentially show that for a second. All you need to do is in deploy in your project, in your environment, there is a tab called variables. And if we look at the variables here, what you will see is that we have enabled the Sitecore Experience Edge worker store. And this is right now the variable that we use to activate Edge runtime publishing. So when this is set to true, automatically everything behind the scenes will activate and it will use this new feature.
Do they need to do anything except the environment variable? Do they need to restart anything to make it register?
Anytime you apply one of these, you need to restart the CM. There's an option right here to restart the environment. So you indeed restart it from here, and then afterwards you need to do a full republish of your entire environment, because that will then like create all of the different pieces. There's no worry. It's not like the querying does not change at all. And while you're publishing, the old layout, full layouts are still in place in the Edge. So it will only start using the runtime pieces as soon as they are available. So even while this big republish is running, everything should stay online. So it's a completely transparent upgrade normally.
That sounds awesome. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of customers very happy with this. One final question. If anyone in the community has any questions about publishing or the myriad of other technologies you're responsible for at Sitecore, what's the best way for them to get hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is I am present in Slack. So if you just shoot me a DM in the community, I'm bound to respond to you. Sending me email can sometimes be a little bit tough because I receive a lot of email. So, but if you want, you can send your questions to ivan.lieckens@sitecore.com. Ivan is with an I and Lieckens is with CK. That's always the two pieces that people sometimes forget. There's obviously you can also add me on LinkedIn, send me a message there, or yeah, I'm on all platforms usually, and I'm pretty easy to get a hold of usually if you just ping me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the time today, Ivan. Hopefully we get to speak again soon.
Likewise, thanks.